Hello, everybody. My name is Luis Labrador. I'm a teacher here at AnimSchool. I work through my 25 years of career or more in different studios like Sony ImageWorld, DreamWorks, and now Walt Disney Animation. I've been with them for 11 years, working as a 3D artist and as an environment modeling supervisor in movies like Frozen 2 or Encanto. And I just want to invite you to my introduction to modeling class that takes place every term here in AnimSchool. You're going to learn a lot of stuff and you're going to learn the way we do it at the industry. So, excited to have you on board. Oh, my name is Luis Labrador. I'm originally born in Spain. I moved to the United States when I was 20 years old. So that's a long time ago now. I started my career in film, really, in Spain, where I'm from originally, as a special makeup effects artist. I used to do makeup, animatronics, monsters, and all that stuff. But then through the career, in Spain, obviously the whole thing with the visual effects, science fiction, it's not really a makeup. There's not that much work. I worked for 2.5 years with a guy called Colin Arthur, which he was the head of company called, well, it was one of the biggest companies there in special makeup effects. He's the guy that did The Never-Ending Story and things like that. British guy, but it was settled in Madrid. Anyway, so I started in film there doing like traditional, like I said, stuff, sculpting, makeup, animatronics, all that stuff. Then 1996 came up. There's a movie that some of you might hear about. It's called Jurassic Park. And then that changed everything for me, meaning that I saw the dinosaurs or the part of the dinosaurs that they were done in CG, and I was like, oh my God, I'm out of a job here, so I need to learn how to do that. That's when I decided to move to the States in 1996. There was no teaching of this type of discipline at that time. It was just a bunch of crazy people trying to figure out how to get this thing done. Most of the people were located at ILM at that time or some other studios, but there was not really like a setup for schools or teaching. There was some modeling classes around in some really prestigious schools, but they were nothing oriented to animation or anything like that. So for that reason, I'm totally self-taught. I bought a computer, I got a software, and I trained myself mostly working on my stuff and new stuff 3D because I never started a computer before I moved to the United States, to tell you the truth. I didn't know how to start a computer. So I always make the joke that I thought you had to pull, like when a lawnmower when you started, you know what I mean? With a rope. I have my twin brother. I have a twin brother. He's really into computer science. He's the one to guide me to what computer buy. And I started like learning by myself. Like I said, normally, mostly weekends, 9 to 5, like every day, boom, 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 boom. And then at 5, I used to go with my friends, So it was like discipline, 9 to 5, Saturday, Sundays, because obviously I worked during the weeks. And that's how I started really into 3D. It was all like self-taught. And that's still what I do, If I want to get better at something, normally just start like doing my own stuff. And normally when I talk to the students, they all get excited about the studios that I work on, but I always have to add this at the very beginning. It's like, it's really weird, the case that a student that starts right out of the bat, in a big studio, huge studio. It takes some time because you need to build your portfolio. Same with me. I started in a small studio called Gentle Giant Studios, which I stayed with them for 4.5 years. At the beginning, I was just a traditional sculptor there. And then I moved into the digital area, when they knew that, oh, he knows how to run Maya. Nobody knew how to run Maya at the studio at that time. So I started with them and I started working more doing like 3D scanning, digital doubles for film. That's when Sony, we worked for Spider-Man 2. Sony ImageWorks came over, saw my work, and then decided if I wanted to join them. So that's what I did. I stayed with Sony ImageWorks for 5.5 years, I think, something like that. And then I got bit by the animation bug because at Sony, we started like working not only in visual effects stuff, but also we have what is called a SPA or Sony Picture Animation at the time. One of the first movies was Open Season, Monster House, and things like that I work on. So I really started liking that too, So I thought, okay. So I knock at DreamWorks Animation's door and they say, yeah, come in. And I stayed with them for 3.5 years. I decided that I needed like more like a luxury car. So I knock at Disney's animation door and they say, yeah, come in. And I go, okay. Been there since for 11 years with them. And I'm being like in different shows, as a 3D artist and some of them as a model environment supervisor. Favorite movies mostly for the experience. For me, the one that I had the best experience was Frozen 2. Not just for the movie or what we built too, which it was great and it was fun. It was for the experience with the rest of the people that we work with, all the supervisors, the artists, and everything. On that movie, we were having so much fun. It doesn't matter how many hours that you had to put in there. It was just like great group of people, great group of supervisors, which they were no ego. You learn a lot from them. and they were the best people to work with. I always make this joke about when I work on a movie, I don't really care that much after all these years what the movie's about, really. It's a plus, and you like that. But I always said, if we do the most horrible story ever, but we have the great people that know what they're doing and it's fun to work, just get me into that movie, please. You know what I mean? Because that's the best. And Frozen had everything. Frozen 2, the good thing is that everything. That was kind of like I always said, I made the joke that the planets align at that time, and there was like a production that it was like, this is not going to happen anymore. The second one was Encanto. Encanto was actually pretty nice to work on, I have to say. Not as good as Frozen 2, but still pretty good. Those two as a supervisor, obviously. And then as an artist, I have things from one of the movies that I really enjoy a lot at that time was Monster House. I really like it. It was a lot of fun to work on that one. There are movies that we have a lot of freedom to do things, becoming more like the art department, if you ask me. Like a movie like Watchmen, one of my last movies at Sony, I had to build stuff with no art, which was kind of like fun at the same time. I Am Legend was also another movie that I really like. Even people don't like the resolution of the zombies at the end, because we can get into detail into that. Our zombies has porosis at that time and veins and everything that you can, but because they changed the sequences so much, we couldn't render such a high resolution. So we had to release everything kind of like a little bit low res. But anyway, my whole point is that was a fun show. It's a lot of some of the parts also working in visual effects because you get to interact with some of the actors sometimes, which I don't have that in animation right now, which I miss a lot. You used to, like when I was a Gentle Giant, you meet from people from Lord of the Rings all the way to Hugh Jackman when he was like Van Helsing. I was having lunch with him. To Johnny Depp, he was the nicest guy at that time, So it's like that's the part I miss the most too. So it's like depends. I mean, depends if it's visual effects or animation. I can take you into one or the other. Van Helsing is a show that I work on that I was 2 weeks in Prague scanning like actors and walking around Prague and meeting Hugh Jackman and having tequila shots with him, which you will never have that another time. So, well, it has definitely his big pluses. Mostly it's because in AnimSchool, people has to have a portfolio and has to be able to work in a production. So they already know what they're talking about. What's my point with all this? I have a lot of students coming to me at the end of the class, my 11 weeks, and I hear this a lot. It makes me feel good, but at the same time, it makes me feel bad for them, which is this. Oh, Luis, I learned more in 11 weeks with you than 4 years in college. And I go, wow, thank you for that. But oh my God, at the same time. So what am I going with this? It's always good to have teachers that they're production ready, meaning that people that really work in the industry. And that's not that easy to find. The difference is like students that normally work online and look at schools like this one, like the one we have, they're lucky because they have that. I didn't have that. I was like, hey, who am I talking to? I don't know. I find something online, but you don't know if it was actually good stuff, it was bad stuff, if they were guiding. It's like, if this real production stuff was just a guy that figured something out and then some other people will laugh at you because he was doing something that didn't work in production. So you never know. So that's the good thing that they have. They have somebody that they can guide them. And obviously they had to be, like I always tell them, really picky and do a research of who's going to be teaching the class. Just do your research. Go to places like IMDb and find out what movies did he work on. What has he done? Because just to give you an example, I took classes in UCLA Extension when I came here at the very beginning. And I have some teachers that they were like amazing. Like, this guy worked on Star Wars. Oh my God, and you look at him and he was the guy that do the matte paintings in the background and everything. And now then you look at other teachers, not all of them, and he said, famous director with this short film, and you look at him and you're like, you haven't done anything really, you know what I mean? So you have to be really careful what you put your money into, and your knowledge and your time, So that's the thing that they already have that is kind of good, which we didn't have. I got like lucky if I get somebody like that in UCLA at that time, that was really, really weird. Obviously, the good thing also they have that they can be anywhere. They can take the class from anywhere. They cannot have to live in California anymore because most of the people that work there are in Vancouver, California, places like that. And you go like, oh, what if I don't live there? So that's another good thing that they have. The only thing that I said that is not as good is just the interaction between them. It's good to have students, it's good to have that, hey, I'm doing here, what talking more. And, they're still relating forums and stuff like that. But what I think they miss is that personal cuts, which is the only probably negative part that I will see there, because being able to take a class on your pajamas is also a big plus. So the key or the golden ticket for these people is their portfolio. That's the only thing. There's no more than that. If a studio wants what they see in your portfolio and they want you to work with them, they will move the earth just to give you a visa. They don't care. Whatever it costs, whatever, if you're good, and I see cases like this at Disney all the time, artists that they've been in Europe for a long time, they have an amazing portfolio. I have my friend Manu Arenas, one of the best 2D art directors that I've seen in my life. And they chase him like crazy just to get into the studio. For 2 years, they were after him. So what I mean by this is like, if you have an amazing portfolio to show, obviously in what category you want to get into the studio or whatever, they will do anything to get you to work for them. So that's the key. Get an amazing portfolio, something that I said, hey, it's worth for me to go through the whole process of dealing with immigration and everything. If you are kind of like equal to somebody that's here in the United States, but guess what? They're going to go for the person probably that's here in the States because it's going to be cheaper. It's going to take no time compared with that. It's going to be a lot of things that they don't have to be dealing with. And, and luckily for everybody, all the immigration stuff is becoming more and more complicated every year for every country, not just here. I know that even from where I'm from Spain, trying to get a visa there or try to get some stuff is becoming way, way more complicated. So happens everywhere. I would say that the portfolio is the 60%. Then there's the other 40%. All right. They need to be cleaning their work, cleaning their topology. They need to be good at transferring from 2D to 3D. That's another part. So normally when I ask people for their portfolios, or I look at portfolios, which I do a lot, people tend to just show you their models and the beauty pass, and then that's it. And then you're like, okay. I only ask, so far, I just know 40% of what you know how to do. What is the other 40%? And people go like, what? I'm just showing you my models. No, you're not. You're not showing me your models. You show me part of your models. What do you mean by this? Well, I don't see a wireframe pass so I can see your topology, if it's ready for animation, if it's ready for texturing, if it's ready for rigging. I don't see anything here. So you're not showing me the whole thing. So you need to show me topology, and it has to be correctly done for all these departments. Because like I always tell them, our models don't only have to look pretty, they need to be functional. I know a lot of models that look pretty, and then I turn on the mesh and I go, okay, we cannot work with this. So done. You know what I mean? So they don't do that. They don't add, like they add maybe a turntable or something, and they say, based on a design by blah, 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 blah. And then you go, okay, what is the design by blah, 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 blah in your portfolio? Because I don't see it. You don't put the image. I want to see that image first, and then your model, so I can see and relate to that. Because how do I know that you actually did a good job of translating that from 2D to 3D? How do I know that? They don't put that either, So then the other part, apart from the technical part, which is all this, is how is the person? How he can collaborate? How are his social skills? Does he have an ego or not? All that stuff that you had to kind of like see through the process of asking questions and seeing how they interact with other people. Are they collaborative, with other people? Because obviously working at a big studio, you need to have that part. If you don't know how to collaborate with other people and you just do whatever you want, good luck. You're not going to last for too long, no matter how good you are. No matter how good you are. So the social part is also good. So there's a bunch of stuff apart from that beautiful 60% on the models that needs to be looked into. Obviously, being in the United States, and I'm sorry to say this, I have an accent, but at least I can speak to people. You need to have good English, because I see some cases, not just because I'm saying, I've seen some people like having hard time in the studios that I've been into just because they couldn't talk to people. Yeah, you bring these amazing artists from another country, but then this English skills are not that great there. Well, that's going to hurt a little bit. I mean, you can navigate through that easily compared with other things like the technical parts, but that's another plus, because I always ask students, mostly international students, how is your English? Because some people write me, not because I hear them in a conversation. So they write me an email and it's like, how would you do this, and this, and this, and this? And I go, well, one of the things is like, how's your English too? Everything is important. So there's like a group of things there after the 60% from the models that you always have to add to that. You definitely need to look at that, because like you're going to be working with these people. So you need to look at the whole package, Well, the challenges that they're going to face that I didn't have is, just to be honest, is more competition now. That's the main one they have. there's more people actually doing this and more and more and more. But also there's more places to work for, which on the other end kind of like balance the whole thing. What excites me for them is they have a lot of new things coming up that they didn't have at that time. Things like VR, AR, augmented reality, and VR. They're still in diapers, running around and sucking the thumb, like I said, like a baby crawling, because people don't know what's coming in the next couple of years. I know that by the end of 2023 and 2024, this thing is going to explode. So they have all that possibility there, which we never had, which I'm really also excited about it. So I think that for them, all these new technologies is something that is really cool. It didn't get to that. At that time it was just like, oh, you just model, and you just do this for animation or for video games, and that's it. But now there's like way more stuff out there and more that they're gonna come. I don't like it. Let's put it this way. I mean, I understand the use of it for certain specific things, which I'm gonna be very specific about it. Okay. If you are a visual development guy and you have a portfolio already and you have a years of experience, you can use that as a tool to kind of like generate some quick stuff to go about and then do your own thing completely, not use that. You know what I mean? But kind of like inspirational type of thing. I think that's good. Then the bad part is a lot of people are going to be cheating with this thing. Meaning, if I had to hire somebody that does 2D, how do I know their portfolio is not AI generated? How do I know they're good or not? How do I know that you put them in production and then they're not going to know what to do? That's because they're like cheating through the whole process. So as a tool to inspire and as a tool to build from, we're going to have to get into a lot of legalities here to figure out how we're going to be dealing with this, because nobody really knows. Nobody really knows, because this is getting out of hand, to tell you the truth. I think they're going too far with this. I know that you cannot stop evolution and you cannot stop technology and you cannot stop a lot of things, but this needs to be regulated in some way. Because like I said, for the good people, it's going to be a benefit. For people that they're like I said, people that have the skills. But there are going to be a lot of cheaters and a lot of horrible people that they're going to use it also. Because obviously they're taking the style of a lot of people and motion it in something, and you can tell really, oh, this is inspired by these guys. Well, what happened with those people that's been working for years, like that's, yeah, it's not an easy thing. I don't know how it's going to end, but if we can regulate it in some way, I think that's probably going to be the best. Well, like I said, yeah, I've seen it, definitely. You see more diversity there, which is good. I'm diversity, so, look at this accent, hear it. So obviously diversity is always good, but I'm always with diversity with quality. We need to make sure that we do both. You know what I mean? Because that's what I go for. Like I always said, you want more women, or you want more people from this country, or you want more people for this nationality, or you want more this. Definitely, let's have that. But let's look for them. Let's make sure that we get quality at the same time. I think that's the key for me. If you're trying to find somebody, you need to give yourself maybe a little bit more time to be more specific about what you're looking for, but they're definitely there. Take your time, find them, and most of the time, they're better than any of the people that you want. But you need to do your research. You need to do your search. They're there. Let's say that I have from 8 to 12 modelers, depending on the show. I always said that they don't work for me. I work for them, meaning I always do this metaphor, which is they are guys that they're driving Ferraris, and they're driving the Ferrari. It's a road that is in the mountains, and I'm going first with a gigantic truck plowing all the snow for them so they can go super fast. So that's what supervising is for me. Being respectful with other people. Don't have an ego. Don't think that you're the supervisor and you work. No. I work for them, to allow them to have the best and give the best and clean their path so they can be fast and precise at what they do. But we're really oriented by the 2D art. So we're like, we cannot deviate too much from all that, but definitely we can always push them a little bit forward to that, Mostly for us is having a good relationship with the 2D department. That's key. Because if you don't have a good relationship and then you start doing your own thing, then you're going to be in trouble. So, okay. So the inspiration is just splashing what you see really in the 2D art, never like deviating from it. That's number one, okay? Building that good relationship between the art department and the modelers, that's the key. Because apart from having like reviews that you show these to a bunch of people in the studio, you have also working sessions with the art department, and building like a foundation on those working sessions, almost like a playground for kids. That's the best, because the art department is really, sometimes they are a little bit tense working around the artist. That's not a good thing, and the opposite too. So you release all that, and they make them like collaborate and be friendly. That's the part I try to get more into. I'm making everything, all those meetings, all those working sessions, really relax and laugh, and and even joke. Sometimes you have to throw a joke there so people kind of like relax and think, oh, this is not really like so serious. Even I'm with the production designer or the art director modeling in front of them right now. I want them to feel like we can do things, and you can also add some, hey, what do you think about this? We can put this thing here. Being respectful, obviously, about the 2D art, but saying, hey, what if we do this? How would you feel about that? Not just saying, I'm going to do this and then I'll show you. So all that, all that collaboration, nice vibe, and having a good conversation about things, without imposing, I think that's key. This is a part that I always tell students and people that want to work in the industry. Even through that collaboration, there's going to be times that they're going to tell you no, or what will you suggest? But even saying no, it needs to be in a way that by the end, when they're done telling you no, you look at the person and you go like, okay, I get it. Thank you. I totally get it. You cannot just say no and then done with it. You know what I mean? You need to be nice. That's one of the things I learned from one of my supervisors, Son Jenkins. He's an amazing supervisor. And even when he tells you no to something, you realize why it's no. And then at the end, you always said, thank you. I get it. That's good supervising right there. It's that collaboration, and they understand that they're not just doing like their model and then they're throwing it out, and then nobody's going to grab it and, oh, he didn't finish his work. I'm going to fix his work so he fits with what I have to do. No. He doesn't need to be fixing your model. We just see that happening, by the way. That's what I'm saying this, okay? No, you need to be able to release the model, and you're always going to get some feedback no matter what for some stuff. If you have to release that model at a time, you might do minor changes that they're always obvious, but I don't want people to send models to a point that somebody has to redo most of the job, or that doesn't make any sense to me. So that's what I normally always emphasize. That's the key. That's mostly the main key for everything. I always tell them I run my class like it's a studio. And the reason I do that is because you want to work in a studio. And that's the most important part. So that's what I do. The collaboration is the part that, like you said, they don't really know about that part. This model, they have to put it out, and that's it. They're done. Like, no, you're not done, my friend. Obviously, then there's the topology stuff that I'm really picky about. Topology for animation is really different than topology for games. Here, we're going to be doing topology for animation. I'm going to be doing subdivisions. We're going to be using only quads. I'm going to be doing this and this and this and this. Well, but I just want to do models for games. I don't really care about this. Well, let me tell you something. I have something for you that you're going to love. It's the only reason that if you model for animation to start with, and you model everything in sub-Ds, and you model everything in quads, your foundation in topology as a modeler, once you do games, it's going to be so much easier, because it's always easier to go from something that is really perfect and really clean to something for games than the opposite. They don't get it. So the most amazing clean modelers in the world come from the era of nerves. Everything needs to be patches and parameterization and everything. And then those people moved into polygons, so everything was super, super clean. So the same thing happened with animation. You're like learning from animation too, all those techniques of topology. Once you move into games, because you are allowed to do triangles and some other things, it becomes so easy. So easy to model. The other way around, not that much. If you get a lot of people working in games and they're just used to this type of models, they move to a studio on animation and they're going to be in trouble. Well, like I said before, I'm always learning by myself. I'm getting more into Unreal right now, to tell you the truth. I'm building my own art pieces right now. Like, I grab some design from somebody that I like, and I'm modeling the whole thing in Maya, and then texturing in Substance, and I'm getting everything presented in Unreal with lighting and everything, because I think it looks beautiful. So I'm getting more into Unreal just to get to know it. Definitely this based a little bit more on what I think is coming in the future, which is going to be a lot of stuff for AR, VR, and mostly the amazing thing that nobody knows what's going to be, that is called the metaverse. Even when they asked me the other day in a conference, what is the metaverse? And I said, my answer was, whoever tells you what the metaverse is lying to you. Because nobody knows what it's going to be. It's going to be something. It's going to be something amazing. For now, it's not, but it will be with technology gets better. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that stuff too, to metaverse and the whole idea of people contacting me and said, I would love to build this world in here. I'm already buying land in the metaverse. And you go like, what? That sounds really like some investors already that contact me, like from countries. Like, I bought some land in the metaverse. I would like to build this in the future with you. Sure. Construction. No. You need to keep evolving. I mean, the industry is evolving, so you don't involve with the industry, you're not gonna be part of the job anymore. I'm sorry. You need to move forward. It's a lot of new things coming out every single day, from photogrammetry, modeling photogrammetry. You get like procedural modeling is getting crazy. All those things we need to keep learning all that stuff. There was nothing like that like maybe 10 years ago. You know what I mean? So you always constantly learning. Always. Well, here's the thing. I mean, things are becoming a little bit more complicated through these places to get like into the networking. Mostly if you want to show your portfolio as a student to other people, like companies are getting a little bit picky with all the, we only show portfolios to this person at this time. Before it used to get a little more free. Definitely it's good to go to those events because you get to know people. You get to show your work. Obviously, if you do it like now it's a little bit more like you have to set up an appointment and you have to do things, but definitely going into those is a plus. Like this year I went to Livebox instead of CT, and now we have the two. I really like Livebox too. I mean, those things is getting huge too. So yeah, definitely for the students, that's the place to go because you see where things are going. You meet other people, you make friends in the industry. Definitely, you may meet another students that are not necessarily in your own school, but you can collaborate with, on some things. I use that as an excuse to see friends from other studios that they come, like I haven't seen in years, to go out for dinner too. So it's always good to keep the whole culture moving, So definitely. Well, I like it because they're serious about what they do. Definitely it's a school that also has a tradition, which is good. It's one of the first ones. That's good too. You only have to look at the panel of teachers and then you go like, well, these people mean business. And it's all legal in a way that is legal. I'm not saying that the other people are doing like illegal stuff. It's just that everything is ratified by the education, so everything, when you're doing your education there, everything is, the way schools should be. Because you have the schools there that they are not really, number one, they don't have the teachers, or they don't have the qualifications, or they don't have once you finish, you get a diploma that really is like, okay, what do I do with this thing? The whole thing is already set up. It's just from beginning to end, that you are with serious people. I treat the students, obviously, with all the appreciation and all the respect, but as a school, they treat me with respect too. They treat me as a professional, not just as a teacher, which is good. I mean, it's part of the deal, but I like that. I like how serious we are. I mean, we have fun and everything, but serious, when we mean business, we're doing a good business. You know what I mean? We're like actually teaching people that they're actually working now. You know what I mean? That makes you feel good. And it's everything the way it's set up. It's good. They listen to you. You have something to say. Hey, I would like to do this because of this, and this. And they go like, yeah, you can do that. Mutual respect is the key, and professionalism. That's the number one. So for me, that's why.